Hackers and hackerettes, welcome to a new video. In this video, we'll be tackling a new Hack the Box lab, which is appointment. Appointment here, a lab that I also went through off camera because it needed a browser and I did not have my WSL configured to run browsers and just share the OpenVPN connection. So I just went through it and figured out that we're gonna need a browser. So I went ahead and set up a Kali Linux VMware or a Kali Linux machine on HyperX. Hyper-V, not HyperX, sorry. This is not an ad for HyperX, but it could well be. I'm using a bunch of things from HyperX. But anyway, going to, or for you to install Kali Linux on Hyper-V, you can just type Kali Linux and then you can go there, click download, and then you can choose the virtual machine and then choose Hyper-V. This is if you're running Windows as your host or as your main machine. There are also pre-built images for VirtualBox and VMware and QEMU. I don't know how to actually, maybe QEMO is that's what how to pronounce that in the geek Linux users world. But anyway, you do have pre-built images, which I do recommend. They're just super easy to use. The default credentials are Kali, so Kali for your username, Kali for your password, and you just get them up and running in whatever virtual machine software that you're using. I'm just using Hyper-V. It's built into Windows. It's super quick. It's super cool. I was using VirtualBox, switched to Hyper-V, and it's much better for me. So without further ado, let's just get into Hack the Box. Appointment machine. I'm gonna go to my Kali Linux and then I'm just gonna connect to my OpenVPN. I already have my OpenVPN file good to go here, and then I'm going to Hack the Box. You can see I'm connected, so all good there. So our first question is, what does the acronym SQL stand for? Again, if you don't know, you can click on the hint. It says here use camel case, so this is like a hint for you to input the answer correctly, and then it says a simple Google search will yield the answer. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. If you didn't know that, then just Google it. Let me know in the comments if you would want to see a SQL tutorial, because I do believe that SQL is very important for you as a hacker in your career. If you want a SQL tutorial, just let me know and I could go like over SQL really quickly in one video. The second task is, what is one of the most common of SQL vulnerabilities? It's SQL Injection, or SQLI for short. What is the 2021 OWASP top 10 classification for this vulnerability? If you don't know what OWASP is, just Google it. And then OWASP is an open, you can call it like an open source or like community funded organization that it is essentially all about security. So if you look at the OWASP top 10, what was the year? 2021. And then you can see that the top 10 web vulnerabilities. Where's the list though? So OWASP top 10, and then it should be here. Oh yeah. Yeah, there we go. So here's the list, and then we are going to have SQL Injection, Insecure Design, Injection. Maybe it's part of Injection. And yes, so it is this injection right here. So the answer here is A03-2021 injection. You can see that right here. And I can drop a link for this in the description as well if you want to read more about the OWASP write-up about this. What does Nmap report of the service and version running on port 80 of the target? So right here, they're making it easy for us. They're giving us port 80. So what we could do is we could copy here the machine or the target IP or the machine IP. Then in our Kali Linux, we're already connected to the VPN. So what we could do is just Nmap and then input the IP address. We could add the port of 80 and then SV to scan the service and the version of the service. So we could just give it a second. We're only running it on port 80, so it should be quick. And then you can see where we have an Apache, which is a web server. So that means or suggests that there is a website or a web application running on this machine. We can confirm this by opening Firefox, pasting in the machine IP, and there we go. We actually do have a website running there. Going back here, what is the Nmap report? You can just copy this from Nmap like result. What is the standard port used for HTTPS protocol? Again, just simple Googling will get the result for that. I happen to know it's 443. What is a folder called in web application terminology? Again, you can just Google it. Directory is the correct answer. HTTP response, not found errors. It's 404. It's very common, of course. You know, like the 404 meme, 404 not found meme, all of that. Gobuster is one tool used to brute force directories on a web server. What switch do we use with Gobuster to specify we're looking for to directories or to discover directories and not subdomains? It is the dir. If you don't know how to answer this, let's go back to our terminal, and then I could type gobuster-h, and then in here you can see that dir uses the directory file enumeration mode, which means that I could just type gobuster dir and then the IP, and then the IP of the machine, and then you could just run a Gobuster. The weird thing is you don't actually need Gobuster here to finish this this machine, but I don't know why this question was included here. The next question is, what single character can be used to comment out the rest of a line in MySQL? So you can use the hash symbol. This is the only single character, but other types to do a comment in MySQL is to type double dash. So like that. So this double dash here is also a comment in SQL. If user input is not handled carefully, it could be interpreted as a comment. Use a comment to log in as admin without knowing the password. What is the first word on the web page returned? Okay. So this is actually when you get to do some SQL injection. So it tells us that on this page, there is a SQLi vulnerability, an SQL injection vulnerability, and we should log in as admin. So what we could do is simply just type admin in here, and then we could try the password admin, and it just says that it is incorrect. It did not log us in. But since we already know that that there's an SQL vulnerability here, what we could do is simply type admin, and then what is this called? Not an apostrophe. Actually, it is an apostrophe. I always get it mixed, apostrophe and comma, but yeah, this is an apostrophe. So admin and then or 1 equals 1, and then a hash symbol. And then in the password, I could write anything. If I don't type anything in the password, it's going to tell me that I should enter a password. I'm literally just going to type gibberish, whatever. I just smashed my keyboard. And then I'm going to log in, and it's going to say congratulations. So this is the word that they're looking for in the HackTheBox, the word congratulations. And then the flag, you also get the flag right here. Why did this work though? How does this work? Let's talk a bit more about SQL in here. So I'm assuming that in the SQL query that actually is used to log in is something like this. Select star from users where username equals, and then your input right here. So I'm just going to write input and password equals input. Okay, so if this is actually the SQL query that is being used on the backend, and then the user input is just added here without any sanitization, then our input, which was admin, comma, or apostrophe, and then plus or 1 equals 1, and then a hash symbol, this input right here, this payload, is going to be injected into this select statement. So it's going to look something like this. So what is this going to do is select star from users where the username equals admin or 1 equals 1. Okay. And then what we could do is hash symbol, which essentially just comments out the rest of this SQL query, which is gonna render it useless. So now the login query is not even checking for the password. Now that I'm looking at this, even the or 1 equals 1 is unnecessary at this point. If I could go back and then give it a refresh right here, I could type admin and then apostrophe and then hash symbol, and then type whatever in the password, and it still works the exact same. So what we could do here is, even without this or 1 equals 1, I could just add this in here. So select star from users where username equals admin, and then just close the entire of the SQL statement, which means we're not checking for the password anymore. And that way we are simply just select star from users where username equals admin, valid query, returns the admin user, and just lets us in. So even the or 1 equals 1 is not even necessary at this point. So yeah, our payloads could look more like that, which is like super simple to hack. This is the most basic form of an SQL injection vulnerability. I hope that makes sense. Also, if you don't know more, if you don't know like about SQL, let me know in the comments below, and I could make a series about SQL and then how we could mitigate SQL injection vulnerabilities like this one in our applications. So yeah, you have the flag right here. You could just go to HackTheBox, paste the flag, submit it, and you will own the machine. So yeah, if you like that video, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like that video or not. If you have any constructive criticism, there's something that you don't like about me or about the videos or anything, just let me know in the comments. My channel is still an infant essentially, and I'm trying to grow it and give you content that you would want to watch. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will make other videos and I hope for you to watch them. See ya.